The music upstairs was loud enough to rattle the dust from the beams, but down below, in the narrow basement with a single grated window, daylight fell in weak stripes across cold concrete and iron chains. The girl counted those stripes the way people count breaths when they are afraid they might be their last. She had stopped screaming hours ago. Not because she had given up, but because she had learned that hope, when shouted too loudly, could be crushed just as easily as silence. This was the place no one looked during a celebration, the place meant to be forgotten, and for her, it felt like the world had already moved on without her. Before the story goes any further, take a moment. If you believe in second chances, in compassion where cruelty once lived, like this video, comment, share it, and subscribe to the channel Only Kindness. Stories like this matter because what we choose to believe in shapes the world we live in. Her name was Maribel Cruz, a 22-year-old with tired eyes and hands roughened by years of doing whatever work kept food on the table. The morning sun had risen beautifully that day, the kind of clean, clear daylight that made the city feel honest. She had taken a temporary job cleaning after a private event at a motorcycle club compound on the edge of town. Day work, cash paid, no questions. She told herself she would be in and out before the afternoon heat settled in. But kindness can be mistaken for weakness, and trust can be twisted into a trap. The club was alive with movement by mid-morning. Engines roared and laughter cut through the air, banners flapped against brick walls, and the smell of fuel mixed with grilled food. To outsiders it looked intimidating, but Maribel kept her head down and focused on the simple tasks she was given. She did not know that beneath the celebration there were shadows, and that some people believed the noise above could hide anything done below. By early afternoon, a careless mistake changed everything. A spilled crate, a shouted order, a wrong door opened. Maribel found herself pushed down narrow steps into a basement that felt older than the building itself. The chains were already there, rusted but strong, a relic of a darker time. Fear moved faster than thought. She struggled until her wrists burned, until her breath came in shallow gasps. Above her, music played on. Daylight slipped across the floor inch by inch as the sun moved higher. Hours passed in fragments. She focused on small things to stay sane. The way dust danced in the light. The distant hum of engines outside. The memory of her mother's kitchen window and how the sun used to fall across the table at noon. The greatest challenge was not the cold metal or the ache in her arms, but the creeping belief that no one would notice she was gone. That the party would end, the bikes would roll out, and she would remain where she was, invisible. What Maribel did not know was that the leader of the club, a man named Rourke Halstead, had arrived late that day. He was not the kind of leader who stayed hidden in an office. He walked his grounds in daylight, checking faces, reading the air. Rourke had built his authority not just on reputation, but on a strict code. Loyalty mattered, respect mattered, and harming the innocent was a line he never allowed crossed, no matter who stood on the other side. Rourke noticed things others missed. A door that should have been locked standing slightly open. A staff list that did not match the number of people leaving the compound. He felt a tension beneath the celebration that did not belong there. The daylight was still strong when he followed his instincts toward the back of the building, past stacked crates and old equipment, down a stairwell that smelled of damp concrete. The basement was quiet in a way that felt wrong. Rourke saw the chains first, then the girl attached to them, sitting upright through sheer will alone. Her face was pale, but her eyes lifted when footsteps approached, not with panic, but with a careful, fragile hope. In that moment, the noise from upstairs felt like an insult to the stillness below. Rourke did not shout, he did not rush, he moved with deliberate control, assessing, understanding. He unlocked the chains with hands that did not shake, then wrapped his jacket around her shoulders to shield her from the chill. The daylight from the small window seemed brighter suddenly, as if the room itself was exhaling. The aftermath moved quickly, but not chaotically. Rourke took responsibility the way true leaders do, by facing the damage head-on. The celebration upstairs ended early. Questions were asked, lines were drawn. Those responsible were removed from the club before sunset, their absence as loud as any engine. There were no excuses, no quiet deals, no burying of truth under loyalty. The code mattered, or it meant nothing at all. For Maribel, the world outside the basement felt unreal at first. The afternoon sun was blinding after hours in shadow. She sat on the steps, wrapped in borrowed warmth, breathing air that felt new. Her body trembled, not from fear anymore, but from the release of it. She expected to be dismissed, paid off, told to forget. Instead, she was offered water, medical care, and something she had not expected at all, time. Rourke made sure she was safe before anything else happened. He listened as she explained who she was, where she came from, what she had hoped this day would be. He did not interrupt, he did not rush her. In daylight, with people around who treated her like a person instead of a problem, the weight on her chest began to lift. The days that followed were not easy. Trauma does not vanish because someone does the right thing. Maribel struggled with sleep, with trust, with the way sudden noises made her flinch. But she was not alone. The club paid for counseling. Rourke checked in, not as a figure of power, but as someone who understood that responsibility does not end when the crisis does. What changed her most was the quiet consistency. No promises shouted into the air, just steady actions repeated over time. The compound, once a place of fear, became a place she could pass without her heart racing. The basement door was sealed and repurposed, filled with light and storage, the chains removed and destroyed. Daytime remained important to her. She learned to schedule her life around the sun, to anchor herself in hours that felt safe and visible. Maribel found work again, this time with dignity and boundaries clearly set. She began volunteering at a local shelter during the mornings, using her experience not as a source of shame, but as proof that survival could turn into purpose. She learned that strength did not mean never breaking, but choosing to stand back up when the ground felt unsteady. Rourke, for his part, changed too. Leadership often hardens people, but this experience sharpened his sense of accountability. He spoke openly within the club about what had happened, not to inspire fear, but to set an example. Reputation built on silence was not reputation worth having. The daylight scrutiny was not an enemy, it was a mirror. As weeks turned into months, Maribel stood one afternoon at the edge of the city park, sunlight warming her face. She realized she could remember that day without shaking. The fear was still there, but it no longer defined her. She had reclaimed the hours that were stolen from her, and in doing so, reclaimed herself. This story is not about a club or a leader alone. It is about the moment when someone chooses to see what others ignore, and the ripple effect of that choice. It is about how daylight, when allowed in, changes everything it touches. It is about a woman who survived being forgotten and found her way back into the world. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness can exist in unexpected places, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and leave a comment. Your engagement tells stories like this that they matter. And before the ending, here is a special request from us. Comment the words "only kindness" if you believe that compassion should always be louder than cruelty. Maribel still walks in the sun whenever she can. She still notices the small things, the way light falls across concrete, the way a door left open can change a life. The chains are gone, but the lesson remains. Darkness survives on being ignored. Daylight, once invited in, has a way of setting things free.